Emma and Jake were both in their early 30s and a little tired of dating apps. But when they matched and started chatting, they realized they had a lot in common. They loved movies, hated pineapple on pizza, and had both admitted to accidentally walking into glass doors before. After weeks of chatting, Jake finally worked up the courage to ask Emma out. He suggested they meet at a swanky Italian restaurant. Perfect! I love spaghetti, Emma replied. On the night of the date, Jake got ready like he was preparing for a job interview. He ironed his shirt and practiced his smile in front of the mirror. This is going to be great, he told himself. Meanwhile, Emma panicked over what to wear. She tried on 5 outfits before choosing a simple dress that made her feel confident. It was a pretty white dress she hadn't worn in ages. She spent 20 more minutes deciding between 2 pairs of shoes. When they met at the restaurant, Jake was already waiting by the door. "Hi, Emma," he said, flashing his practiced smile. "Hi, Jake," she said, returning the smile. "Wow, this place is fancy." Jake held the door open for her, and they followed the host wearing a suit and bow tie to a table in the center of the room. A candle flickered between them and soft piano music playing, setting the mood. Everything seemed perfect. "This place is beautiful," Emma said as she unfolded her napkin. "Yeah, I hear their pasta is the best in town," Jake replied. Emma glanced at the menu, which said ditalini. "Okay, quick question. How do you pronounce this?" She pointed at the fancy pasta name. Jake leaned over to look and immediately panicked. It's pronounced delicious?" he joked. Emma laughed, breaking the ice. "I'll just stick with spaghetti and meatballs." Jake ordered the same dish, but things quickly went from smooth to chaotic. When the food arrived, Emma's plate looked like it belonged on the cover of a food magazine. The spaghetti glistened under the dim candlelight, and the meatballs were perfectly plumped. She picked up her fork and spoon, ready to cut into a meatball and twirl her spaghetti. Jake, however, was not as graceful. He tried to twirl his spaghetti like a pro, but the noodles had other plans. One particularly long noodle slipped off his fork, flinging a glob of marinara sauce across the table, right onto Emma's dress. Emma froze, looking at the red splotch on her white dress. Jake's face turned the color of a tomato. "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," he said, grabbing his napkin to help. Emma waved him off, laughing. "It's fine. At least now my dress matches dinner." Relieved that she wasn't mad, Jake tried to play it cool. But as he twirled more spaghetti, a meatball launched off his plate like a rocket. It rolled across the table, bounced off the edge, and landed on the floor with a loud plop. Emma laughed so hard she snorted, which only made Jake laugh too. A snooty waiter passing by gave them a disapproving raised eyebrow but kept walking. "Okay," Jake said, grinning. "Maybe spaghetti wasn't the best idea for a first date." Emma wiped tears of laughter from her eyes. "Are you kidding? This is way more fun than some boring, perfect dinner." Feeling a bit braver, Jake decided to try a joke. He picked up his fork and held it like a microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "tonight's special is flying meatballs with a side of disaster." Emma clapped and laughed. But Jake wasn't done being clumsy. As he leaned forward to take a sip of water, his elbow hit the edge of his plate. The plate tilted and his spaghetti slid onto the table. Emma gasped, then burst out laughing again. "Jake, I'm starting to think you're secretly a circus performer." Jake threw his hands up in mock defeat. "Maybe we should just skip dinner and go straight to dessert." The annoyed waiter, who had been watching the chaos from a distance, came over to their table. "Would you like me to box that up for you?" he asked, struggling to keep a straight face. "Please," Jake said, looking rather embarrassed. Emma, still giggling, suggested they take a walk to get ice cream instead. "It's hard to mess up ice cream," she said with a wink. They left the restaurant with Jake holding a bag of his spaghetti in a takeout box. As they strolled to a nearby ice cream shop, Emma said, "For the record, this is the best first date I've ever had." Jake looked at her, surprised. "Really? Even with the sauce, the meatball, and the spaghetti disaster?" "Especially because of all that," Emma said, smiling. "It's real and hilarious." Jake ordered a cone of vanilla, and Emma got a mint chocolate chip. This time there were no spills or accidents, until Jake tried to take a bite of his cone and got a scoop of ice cream straight to the nose. "Seriously?" Emma said, laughing so hard she almost dropped her cone. Jake shrugged, grinning. "What can I say? I'm consistent." As the date ended, Jake walked Emma to her car. "Thanks for not running away during my spaghetti circus," he said. "Thanks for making me laugh so much," Emma replied. Before she got in her car, she turned back and said, "Next time, let's try tacos. It's less dangerous." Jake laughed. "Deal." And with that, they both drove home, already looking forward to their second date. Question 1. How did Emma and Jake meet? A. They met at a pizza restaurant. B. On a dating app. C. At a job interview. Question 2. What did Emma wear on the date? A. 2 pairs of shoes. B. A suit and bow tie. C. A pretty white dress. Question 3. What did Jake order from the menu? A. Spaghetti and meatballs. B. Ditalini. C. Pizza with pineapples. Question 4. What did they do right after dinner? A. They went out for tacos. B. They went out for dessert. C. They went to the circus. Question 5. Why is spaghetti a bad idea for a first date? A. It's expensive. B. It takes a long time to cook. C. It can be difficult to eat.